Hi friends, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudoku and Puzzles. Ashish here, and today I'll be covering a puzzle genre called Tapa Runback puzzle. Now this puzzle is actually a viewer's request. So I really thank Rajesh for requesting us to solve this puzzle genre. So this was from the recent Tapa variant contest episode 22 that was organized on Logic Masters India website. And there were two puzzles of this genre, Tapa Runback puzzle, and both of these puzzles are constructed by Fatih Kamar Anda. So I really thank the author for such wonderful puzzles. They are not the top high pointer puzzles, but some solvers that really found it difficult to solve these genres. So the Tapa Runback puzzle had really very few solvers who have solved this puzzle, and due to its kind of a confusing rules, it was kind of difficult for the solvers to solve. But I really find it interesting that there are a few things that you'll have to keep in mind while solving this puzzle, and once I found those things, it was really interesting for me, and I really enjoyed both of these puzzles. So I really thank the author for such wonderful puzzles, and I highly again recommend you to check out to the contest page. You can still download the puzzle booklet and solve the puzzle at your leisure. And now coming on to this puzzle, now this Tapa variant is a really different one because it contains loop as well, right? So most of the Tapa variants that you have seen and that we have covered on our channel are all shading categories, right? But this contains loop plus shading category, right? So a very different kind of variant, and I really enjoyed solving these puzzles. So coming out to the puzzle, you have to draw a single closed loop that does not intersect anywhere, and only one loop, right? So you don't have any crossings or branching off in the loop here. And just a second. Okay, yeah. And all the numbers inside the loop, so whatever the numbers or the cells, so both, even the numbers and the white cells inside the loop will have to be shaded, and all the numbers outside the loop will have to be unshaded, right? And the numbers inside the loop indicates how many of its edges are part of the loop, right? So for example, if you have a 3 here, so how many of its edges are part of the loop, just like a Slitherlink puzzle. So what are the rules of the Slitherlink puzzle? The numbers indicate the number of edges that are part of the loop or part of the line segment, loop segment, and all the numbers outside the grid will be counted as Tapa clues. So there are two variants in this, which is Slitherlink and Tapa. So you have to draw a single closed loop. I'll explain you in brief easily that you have to draw a single closed loop. All the numbers and all the cells inside the loop will have to be shaded, and there cannot be 2 into 2 group of shaded cells as usual in a Tapa clue. And all the numbers outside the loop will have to be unshaded, and numbers inside the loop indicates number of its edges that are part of the loop, just like in a Slitherlink puzzle. Number outside the grid indicates the Tapa clues, and that indicates number of shaded cells in the corresponding surrounding 8 cells, right? That is what the rule says, and with that we'll start solving this puzzle. So the first and the most important thing in this puzzle is that we know that all the digits that are greater than or equal to 4 will have to be Tapa clues, of course, because these cannot be the Slitherlink clues. If they are Slitherlink clues, you can have a maximum of digit 4. If at all there is only one cell, or maybe if there is only a loop that is of one cell, you can say that it can be a 4. But as you know that you'll have to draw a whole grid, right? So of course you'll have to have, so these are the Tapa clues, right? 6 is a Tapa clue, which means you'll have some shaded cells surrounding the 6, and which means that you cannot have only a single loop of one cell, which means that the 4s, all the 4, 5 and 6 or greater than 4 and equal to 4 will have to be Tapa clues, right? So that can be unshaded now. And all the numbers below 4 can be anything, so we are not sure of it yet, right? So this was the first important and basic thing that you mark in this puzzle genre. The next thing that you come across is that now the moment you have found a few Tapa clues, you have to look out for some other things as well. So for example, if you see a 4 here, this is a Tapa clue, right? Which means that in usually a basic Tapa technique, the common shaded cell would have to be this. For this 4 as well, the common shaded cell would have to be this. For the 4, this 4 and this 4, right? One most interesting logic that I found in this puzzle was, actually I found that logic in the next puzzle, the higher pointer, and that was a very good logic, but that logic can be used here as well. So I would really it is a really interesting logic, and I would really love to show you what logic I found here. So the logic here was the 2 3s that are at the edge, right? That is a very interesting logic, and the moment you find this logic, this puzzle gets much more easier. Without the logic, this puzzle is solvable, because I have test solved this puzzle without this logic, but in the next puzzle I found this logic, and this was really interesting. So what this logic is all about is, as you can see here, there are 2 3s that are at an edge, right? One important thing about these 2 3s are, both of these cannot be shaded ever, because this closes a loop in itself, right? There is a closed loop. So as we have already seen in a Slytherin puzzle, 2 3s that are near to each other will always seem that one is outside and one is inside the loop. Both of the 3s can never be inside the loop in a Slytherin puzzle. The same thing applies here. Both of these 3s can never be shaded at a time, cannot be shaded simultaneously, right? One can be shaded, one can be unshaded, one can be shaded, another can be unshaded, or both can be unshaded. This is also possible, right? So there are 3 possibilities in the in this 3 3 combination, and the first combination is one of the cell is shaded, another is unshaded. Second combination is that other cell is shaded and the first one is unshaded. Third combination is that both are unshaded. And in all of these 3 combinations, I found that these 2 cells will always have to be shaded. What an excellent logic this is. So why is it the case? Let me show you that. So if this is shaded, this is unshaded. Now this behaves as a Slytherin clue, and this behaves as a Tapa clue. So of course, for a Tapa clue, these 2 cells would have to be shaded, because you need 3 continuous shaded cells. Easy, right? Same way, if this is shaded, this is unshaded, for this as a Tapa clue, 3 cells will need to be continuously shaded. If both are unshaded, both behave as a Tapa clue, and these 4 cells will have to be shaded. So for this 3, these 2 cells, for this 3, these 2 cells, and in either of the case, these 2 cells will always have to be shaded. What an excellent logic this is, guys. Excellent, right? And in that case, these 2 cells becomes unshaded now for the 4 clue as a Tapa clue, and for this 4 now, these 3 cells becomes shaded. Excellent. This becomes unshaded now. So for this flow clue, this becomes shaded. Excellent, right? And as now I can see here, the next important logic in this puzzle is that you can never form a checkerboard pattern. So have you ever seen a checkerboard pattern in a loop puzzle? 2 diagonal cells are inside the loop, 2 other diagonal cells are outside the loop. Never. It will never be possible. So in that case, if you see here, if I shade this cell, I'll have to shade this cell as well, right? And which means that not to form the 2 into 2 group of shaded cells, this becomes a Tapa clue now, and that gives a contradiction, because for the Tapa clue, this will have only 1 cell shaded surrounding the 8 cells, right? Awesome. Which means that you cannot have this cell as shaded, and this cell would have to be unshaded, so this cell becomes shaded for the 4. And now which means that this cannot be a Tapa clue now. If this is a Tapa clue, you cannot fulfill the 2 as a Tapa clue, so this would have to be shaded, this is unshaded, this is unshaded. Now this 4 is fulfilled. Excellent, right? This 4 is also fulfilled, this 4 is also fulfilled, and you have to shade this cell, because you cannot form a checkerboard pattern here, right? Now as you can see here, this 6 gets fulfilled here, because you have a unshaded cell here, so 6 gets fulfilled this way. 5 is also fulfilled now. You have 5 shaded cells here, and 2 is a Tapa clue now. This, the moment we unshade this cell, so the moment you unshade one number, that becomes a Tapa clue, and which means that both of these will have to be shaded. You don't have to actually draw a loop to understand how the loop works. I will just let you know a very simple mechanism, or a very simple way to make you understand how a loop works, instead of drawing the shaded cells, right? So here in this genre, drawing the shaded cells is nothing but we are drawing a loop. So this is nothing but a loop. But how, you don't have to always mark the loop segments to understand how the loop works. A simple way is that a 3 in a loop or a 3 in a shaded cell will always have one more adjacent shaded cell. A 2 in a shaded cell or a 2 in a loop will always have two more adjacent shaded cells, orthogonally adjacent shaded cells, not diagonally, orthogonally. A 1 in a shaded in a loop or in a shaded cell will always have three more shaded cells orthogonally adjacent to it. So a 1 will always have 3 shaded cells and not 4. So this will have to be unshaded. A 2 will always have 2 shaded cells orthogonally adjacent to it. Excellent, right? So which means that this is the way you will have to. So a 2 will always have two adjacent cells orthogonally, I mean to say 2 shaded cells orthogonally adjacent. So this will have to be unshaded, right? So if this is shaded, this will be unshaded, and you have 4 shaded cells for the 3 clue. So this is unshaded. Same way, if this is shaded, this is okay. So this is a Tapa clue. We have already fulfilled the Tapa clue. So this will have to be unshaded. This will have to be unshaded. A 1 in the corner. One more logic that I missed here is that 1 in the corner will always be a Tapa clue, because it cannot be inside the loop. For the 1 to be inside the loop, it will need to have 3 more adjacent orthogonally adjacent shaded cells, but 2 of the orthogonally adjacent shaded cells are already eliminated because it is in the corner. So a 1 in the corner in a Tapa Runweg puzzle will always be inside the loop. So this is outside the loop, extremely sorry, this will always be a Tapa clue, which means we'll have to unshade this and unshade this as well, right? These are the few things that you will always have to look out for and keep in mind. A 3, this cannot be unshaded because it won't fulfill the Tapa clue, so this will be shaded, and 3 will always have one more adjacent shaded cell, so other adjacent shaded cell will, all the others will have to be unshaded. A 2 will always have 2 more adjacent shaded cells if this is a shaded one, so this will have to be unshaded. Now to fulfill this 2, both of these will have to be shaded. To fulfill this 2 as a shaded cell, this will have to be shaded. And 6 is done now. Excellent, right? 6 is also done. And now if you see here, this 3 cannot be unshaded because it don't form the Tapa clue here, so this will be shaded, and now this becomes unshaded. And 2 is fulfilled, this becomes unshaded. To fulfill the 3, this will have to be shaded, and this is unshaded. And now if you see here, 1 is already fulfilled, so all the others will have to be unshaded. And with that we complete this Tapa Runweg puzzle. Excellent puzzle, right? Really interesting one, because the moment you find all the tricks or all the logics that you have in this puzzle, it becomes a really easy one to solve this puzzle. And this was a really interesting one. The best interesting logic in this puzzle was the 3s. I couldn't the moment I saw this logic, it was really exciting to watch, right? Because it was really fun. It was a very fun one to look out for. And as you can see here, all the numbers inside the loop are Slitherlink clues, and they have exactly, so if you draw a loop now, if you draw the loop segment, you will know that exactly those many number of loop segments are touching towards that number of clue. That's really interesting. And the numbers outside the gray loop are Tapa clues, and as you can see, all these Tapa clues are fulfilled perfectly. So we have solved the first puzzle now. Now coming on to the next puzzle. This was a really tough one. There were some few narrow deductions here, 2 or 3 narrow deductions that were very difficult to see. This became a high pointer, but at the end it was a very smooth solve, and I would say like 50% of the puzzle, if it took you 6 minutes, the other 50% of the puzzle just took you 30 seconds. So it was a really excellent puzzle, and I'll start this puzzle now. So the first important thing that you do is that mark the cells that can only be the Tapa clue. The second thing is the 3-3. Both of these will have to be always shaded. No matter if the 3s are both unshaded, one is shaded, one is unshaded. These two will always be shaded. The next thing is there, one will always be, so this is the start logic of this puzzle. One will always be outside the loop when it is in the corner. It cannot be inside the loop, right? It will always be, even in the Slitherlink puzzle, if one is in the corner, you directly mark 2 cross marks or 2 helpers just towards the corner of the grid, and then make sure that one is outside the loop, is outside the loop. So same way that works here, right? So one is outside the loop. The next thing that you do is that see the 1 and 5 here. So the 1 and 5 is the next important logic here. So if I unshade this cell, these three cells will have to be shaded and one gets contradiction here. So this is shaded, again this will have to be shaded, right? So now if you see here, now if this 2 is shaded, so a very good logic here, the loop logic that I already discussed with you is the loop logic. If 2 is inside the loop, there has to be 2 adjacent cells, orthogonally adjacent cells will have to be shaded. Both of these will have to be shaded, right? That unshades this cell. Now 5 will have to be shaded this way. That directly contradicts 1. Or you can directly say that if you shade this cell will have to be shaded and 1 gets contradiction here. So this will have to be unshaded, right? Now if you see here, if I unshade this cell, 2 gets only 1 cell shaded. Not possible. So this becomes shaded now. This becomes unshaded. And for the 1, this will have to be shaded. And 5 is fulfilled, 2 is fulfilled. Excellent, right? And this becomes an unshaded cell. So bottom left part is quite done now. And now with that we'll continue the other part of the puzzle. So as you can see here, if I shade this cell, this becomes unshaded and you have 4 cells shaded for the 3. So this becomes unshaded now, this becomes shaded, both of these, sorry, okay, so this becomes unshaded, right? Because this or this can be shaded for the 3 now, we are not sure of it. So for the 5, these 3 will have to be shaded. And now comes the other part of the logic. What happens if I shade this? Same way, you cannot form a checkerboard pattern here. To keep in mind, you will never form a checkerboard pattern. If I shade this, I'll have to shade this and 2 gets a contradiction here now. Excellent. So this becomes unshaded. This 3 will have to be fulfilled by shading this. Now as you can see here, not unlike the previous puzzle where both of the 3s were unshaded, here you have 1 3 as shaded and 1 3 as unshaded, and still the puzzle is logically it's smoothly moving. There is we haven't broke the puzzle here, and both the Tapa and the Slitherling clues are fulfilled, right? So for the 5, this will have to be shaded. And now comes a very difficult logic here. And one of the difficult logic here is that, okay, okay, so if I shade this, okay, so here comes the difficult logic here. What happens if I shade this cell, right? So if I shade this cell, of course now this 2 cannot be a Tapa clue because you have 2 shaded cells at different placements around the cell. So which means this will have to be shaded, and that shades the 3 because of the checkerboard pattern. Now as you can see, 3 can have only 1 more orthogonally adjacent cell shaded, and you have 2 here. That directly unshades this cell. Now another piece of logic here is that, a very difficult one, if you see, a really difficult one. What happens if I unshade this cell? If I unshade this cell also will have to be unshaded because of the checkerboard pattern here, and which means that this 2 becomes a Tapa clue and you have only 1 cell shaded. So this will have to be a shaded cell, right? This was these, so these 2 logics are very sharp to see, and that took me quite a time while test solving this puzzle. So the next piece of logic here is a very good one. So let me show you what the next piece of logic here is. It's really difficult one, but a very good one. And if you see here, both of these 1 and 2 will either be both shaded or both unshaded. You cannot have one as shaded and other as unshaded, because you break the 1 here. If this is unshaded and this is shaded, you break the 2 here, right? So both of these cannot be, both of these will have to be shaded or unshaded. Perfect, right? What happens if you shade both of these cells, right? So if I shade both of these cells, so I unshade this, right? 2 is fulfilled as a Slitherling clue, and checkerboard pattern cannot be formed. Now this 3 is a Tapa clue and you have a contradiction here, which means that both of these will have to be unshaded, and that completes this puzzle wise. This was the most important logic in this puzzle, and with this puzzle it is done. The puzzle is completed. So we have solved only 50% of the puzzle, not even 50% I would say, but we have completed the puzzle. See, so if this is unshaded, This 2 being the tapa clue will have to have all the other cells as unshaded. 1 being the tapa clue will have all the other cells as unshaded. 3 being the tapa clue will have these 2 cells as shaded, right? And this will shade because of the checkerboard pattern. So this is unshaded, this is unshaded. This 5 will unshade this. So as you can see here, the whole group of shaded block is it's got trapped inside the green cells, unshaded cells, and there is only one way it can go. One way it can fulfill the 5. Excellent. So these 2 will have to be unshaded. This is shaded, and as you can see, if you shade this cell, 3 will have 2 shaded cells orthogonally adjacent, not possible. So this will have to be shaded. That unshades this cell, or we can directly unshade because of the checkerboard pattern, and that's unshade this cell. Over. What an excellent puzzle this was. So as you can see, as I already said, just one piece of sharp logic and that completes this whole puzzle immediately. Not even 30 seconds, guys, not even 30 seconds. So as you can see here, these kind of handcrafted puzzles are awesome, really excellent, because as you can see here, these kind of puzzles really give us some interesting ideas, some interesting tricks and tips on how to continue these puzzles, how to look out for tricks. And as you can see, the trick of 1 being always outside the clue, outside the loop if it is in the corner, the trick of both the 3s, the trick of the checkerboard pattern, the trick of the basic technique that numbers which are greater or equal to 4 will always be outside the tapa, will outside the loop and behave as a tapa clue. So these are some things that you'll always have to study. You'll have to make a study or note of all these things when you come across such kind of genres. Maybe a study of 10 or 15 minutes or even 1 hour will give you such kind of tricks. So I hope you enjoyed this puzzle. Do like and comment if you want us to solve any other Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.